Two have tested negative. Time for today's biggest headlines. I'm Gretchen Ho.
I'm Robbie Alampay. You're watching The Big Story. Is the country's healthcare system ready should the newly detected Omicron subvariant lead to a surge? The health department seems to say so.
The DOH has identified over 40 close contacts of the country's first case of the subvariant. Marty Bautista with The Big Story.
The health department ensures that the Philippines is ready should the Omicron subvariant BA.2.12 cause another surge. This following the first case of the subvariant in the country. Secretary Francisco Duque is confident the situation will not worsen since vaccination rates are high.
Handa tayo, syempre, kasi dumaan na tayo sa ilang surges, di ba? So, handa naman yung ating healthcare facilities, ang ating mga healthcare workers naman, ay alam naman na nila kung anong gagawin nila.
Duque also said that the BA.2.12, although infectious, is not that severe.
Hindi naman siya peligroso, hindi naman siya mabagis, no? Mas mabilis lang kumalat, pero wala pang datos sa mga bansa na kung saan natuklasan na ito na naging malubha yung clinical manifestation ng mga infected patients.
The 52-year-old Finnish woman who tested positive with the variant is now back in Finland. DOH has also identified a total of 44 close contacts during her stay in the country. 9 are from Quezon City and 5 from Benguet as she attended seminars. 30 passengers present in the plane with her en route to Manila were also included. The DOH said all of them are still under monitoring, but not all were tested.
Tuloy-tuloy ang sistema natin, may contact tracing tayo, pero batay sa atin na testing policy na risk-based and targeted testing, hindi natin isinasailalim sa testing lahat ng mga na-expose. So yun lang po mga nagpakita ng mga symptoms.
Of the first 9 close contacts found, 2 already tested negative. So far, the World Health Organization has not yet named BA.2.12 a variant of concern, rather a variant under monitoring. For News 5, Marty Bautista, We Are One News.
Are we expecting an Omicron subvariant-driven surge soon? That big question and more with Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere. Undersecretary Vergere, welcome once again to The Big Story.
Yes, good morning. Good evening, sir, at magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat.
Ma'am, bago po ang lahat, kamusta nga po ba sa mga ospital? And should there be a surge, ano po typically ang timetable when we should be expecting the numbers to go up?
Unang-una po ang ating mga ospital, less than 20% po ang utilization natin sa ating mga kama for COVID. Meron lang po mga ilan-ilan na mga areas na binabantayan natin ngayon because meron pong pagtaas ng admissions. But if we try to look closely, ito pong mga hospital na to, kakaunti lang yung allocated beds for COVID. Like for example, in an area here in NCR, they only have 3 ICU beds. So ang dali pong mapuno. Ngayon may 2 na out of the 3 beds na occupied. So this is what we are seeing in other areas of the countries as well kasi nagbaba po ng allocated beds ang ibang mga ospital kaya madali po silang napupuno. Pero sa ngayon masasabi po natin stable, wala naman pong kailangan pang ipagkabahala para po dito sa mga hospitals natin.
Sinasabi po itong Omicron subvariant na to ay mas madaling ikalat but tama po ba ang pagkakaintindi natin? It is not as necessarily as severe. And ano pa po ba ang pagkakilala at pagkaalam natin sa subvariant na to?
Unang-una, kailangan natin malaman that further studies are being done about these sublineages. So wala pa ho tayong kompletong ebidensya sa lahat ng mga sublineages ng Omicron na lumalabas. Ngunit base po sa experience ng mga bansang nakakaranas ngayon ng sublineage na to, katulad sa United States, hindi po siya nagpo-progress into severe, no? Meron lang ho siyang talagang mataas na transmissibility. It is 2.5 times more transmissible than the original Omicron variant.
Now, it's been a couple of weeks since Holy Week. We were expecting that there could be an uptick due to the holidays. Kung titingnan yung mga numero, parang steady pa naman po at medyo mababa. Factored in na po ba ang nagdaan na public holidays? And what are we expecting heading into the elections?
Well, if we look at the different activities that has been undertaken in these past weeks, unang-una yung sinasabi nating campaign sorties, which already started early this February and March. Makikita ho natin na talagang wala tayong uptick in cases, and then came Holy Week, wala pa rin tayong nakikita. Sa tingin namin, and this is an assumption, na yung immunity ng mga kababayan natin na andon because of the vaccination, first and foremost, and second, because of natural immunity. Marami nagkasakit sa atin January to March. Pero ang question ngayon, hanggang kailan tatagal ang immunity na yan? Because we know that immunity wanes, so kailangan magpa-booster po tayo. So with that, having said that, meron ho tayong projections with this waning immunity among the population. Kapag lumagpas na tayo doon sa sinasabi nating 50% na ang dapat nagpapa-booster at hindi po natin nabibigyan ng booster ang mga tao, maari po na tumama at umakyat ang ating severe and critical cases dito sa ating bansa. Pangalawang projection po na ipinakita, kung magpapatuloy ang pagbaba ng compliance sa minimum public health standards, by the end of May, we might be seeing about 60,000 cases per day just here in NCR. These are projections, not cast in stone, but this is just something to guide people and to have everybody prepare for this.
Yusek Vergere, maraming salamat po. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere. Meanwhile, China's capital is escalating COVID-19 restrictions again. Gretch, tell us more.
Robbie, Beijing is increasing curbs so as to prevent a COVID-19 crisis like in Shanghai. The capital rolled out 3 rounds of mass testing to its 22 million residents, while closing some public spaces like residential compounds, office blocks, schools, and even tourist and entertainment venues. As of today, 50 new infections were reported. Since April 22, 160 cases were found, mostly in the most populous Chaoyang district. These are the other big stories tonight. Elections are really starting to heat up. Kakampings and Marcos supporters go head-to-head in a now viral video of supporters chanting inside a mall in Makati. Meanwhile, tragedy struck Bohol after one of its oldest bridges collapsed, killing 4 people. Authorities look at overloading as a possible cause. And basketball big man Sotto looks to become the Philippines' first homegrown player in the NBA after being included in this year's NBA draft. These big stories after the break.
still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. Presidential candidate Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s candidacy records survey numbers never seen before.
And as election day draws near, other presidential candidates are redoubling their efforts trying to close the gap between them and the frontrunner. A recap on Marcos Jr.'s campaign trail in mobile journalist Julie Baiza's report.
Mag-ingay tayong lahat para sa ating susunod na presidente, Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.
Since the start of the campaign period, the Marcos campaign stuck to just one message with single-minded discipline, that of unity.
Sa ating mga kababayan kung ano at bakit ang adhikain ng pagkakaisa at bakit kailangan yan para sa ating pagbalik sa mas magandang buhay.
Despite all the controversies hounding his campaign, Marcos stuck to this theme, and the controversies were many, from the disqualification case to his refusal to face controversial questions about his family's wealth to skipping most of the debates. Instead, Marcos chose to let his social media influencers carry the fight for him via Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and vlogs.
Ano po ba para sa inyo yung bias? Because as we all know, Ms. Jessica Soho is a well-respected personality sa media. So, ano po ba yung bias para sa inyo?
Anti-Marcos.
And the most recent controversy, the 203 billion unpaid estate tax of the Marcos family. But the most controversial candidate slipped past these issues like Teflon, racking up numbers never seen before in Philippine electoral campaigns. Since December 2021, Marcos had taken a commanding lead that broke the 50% barrier, at times hitting even 60% in a field of 10 presidential candidates. Clearly, the issues against Marcos were not sticking. This much was also clear in the campaign sorties. And with the voters come the candidates. Marcos snagged the endorsement of local officials from Tarlac, Bailiwick of the Aquinos, and Vote-Rich Cebu.
Pabayaan na natin yung mga bumabatikos. It's time for forgiveness and healing. Mag-unite tayo.
In the March survey of Pulse Asia, Lenny Robredo's numbers are seeing some improvements, with a very slight dip in Marcos's numbers. Certainly not enough to upset the rankings, but enough to give Marcos pause and Robredo's camp some hope. Julie Baiza, We Are One News.
The Rockwell Power Plant Mall became host to supporters of presidential candidates Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Vice President Leni Robredo as the two sides collided in the venue.
The Lenny-Kiko tandem, meanwhile, decided to split up to cover more ground ahead of the May 9 polls. Marian Enriquez has the details.
The Rockwell Power Plant Mall in Makati became a political battleground on Thursday. This as supporters of both presidential bets Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Vice President Leni Robredo flocked to Rockwell. Guards even had to try and contain the crowd, which had resorted to chants.
Naano nila na ang supporters daw ni BBM ay puro CDE. So we just want to show and shout na, hey, merong A and B. So we're just walking, we're just leisurely window shopping.
But while that was going on, Robredo and her running mate Senator Kiko Pangilinan continued their campaigning as election day draws closer. To cover more ground, the two split up their campaigns.
May mga areas ako halimbawa na kinakailangan kong habulin dahil based on our polling, medyo kailangan pang presence natin.
Pangilinan, together with his family, farmers from San Simon in Pampanga, welcomed Sumilaw farmers in Baclaran. The Sumilaw farmers marched from Bukidnon to Manila to make a push for Robredo and Pangilinan.
Ay kinakailangan baguhin ang pananaw ng ating mga kababayan, ay kinakailangan baguhin dahil kinakailangan talagang bigyang respeto ang ating mga magsasaka at ang ating mga mangingisda.
Robredo, on the other hand, made her way to Quezon as she focuses the last stretch of her campaign in the Lingayen-Lucena corridor. Recall that Robredo won in Vote-Rich Quezon back in 2016.
Masaya tayo na nakabalik tayo dito in the next 4 days. 4A tayo, Calabarzon tayo. Sobrang laki ng Quezon, sobrang laki din ng botante. Kaya napakahalaga niya.
After Quezon, the Vice President is expected to make her way to Laguna, then Batangas, and lastly, Cavite on Sunday. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
For the big story in sports, the Smart Badminton Asia Championship 2022 kicked off yesterday with the world's best showing their talent to Filipino sports fans. But how did our hometown bets fare? Find out in my report. It has been a smashing return for badminton in the country. High-ranking Asian players battle it out as the Philippines host the 2022 Smart Badminton Asia Championships in Muntinlupa. Early in the tournament, home bets Jaja Andres and Ros Pedrosa failed to make it past the qualifying round in the singles division.
Ang pinaka-goal ko talaga ngayon is to gain experience kahit makapagbigay lang ako ng magandang game sa kahit di manalo basta, may matutunan sa game namin.
Sa badminton po, hindi lang naman po always training. Kumbaga sa ibang bansa, iba-iba po yung palo. So, yun po, adjustment po kailangan din po namin. And malaking tulong po itong experience po na to para maka-step forward po patungo sa SEA Games.
This year's edition also marks the tournament's upgrade to Super World Tour 1000, where 12,000 world ranking points are awarded to the winners. Almost 3 years into the pandemic and badminton action is finally back. With the highest numbers of points at stake, Philippine sports fans have the chance to witness world-class badminton action right here in Muntinlupa.
We have all the potential Olympic champions here. We have the 80% of the best in the world competing here.
Early favorites Japan will look to continue its dominance, and they are led by two-time defending champion Kento Momota and Akane Yamaguchi. But there are also other big names to watch out for.
I am hoping that this will be a start of us really seeing and getting used to this kind of competition.
The Smart Badminton Asia 2022 is open to fans at the Muntinlupa Sports Complex, and you can also catch the games via One Sports, One Sports Plus, Signal Play app, and the Smart Giga Play app. Gretchen Hall, we are One News. Time for another quick break. More of the big stories when we return.
watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. A 5-decade-old bridge in Bohol gave way Wednesday, causing the death of 4 people, including one Australian national.
Authorities are now looking into overloading as a possible cause behind the incident. Jem Avancenia with the story.
Let's go! A normal day in Luway, Bohol took a tragic turn on Wednesday when out of nowhere, Clarin Bridge collapsed.
Hala, ginoko! Kapit na kami na disgrasya!
Several vehicles fell to the Lobok River. 4 people died in the horrific incident, including one Austrian national and 3 locals. So why exactly did the bridge collapse? Authorities are looking at the possibility of overloading. Many Tagbilaran-bound vehicles were supposedly caught in heavy traffic after one truck carrying gravel counterflowed.
Yeah, in my initial assessment, based on the testimony coming from the survivors and yung nakakita, yeah, it was really because of that counterflowing vehicle that caused the collapse of the bridge. Dump truck fully loaded. Yeah, we're very serious. And buhay po yung nawala.
According to Town Mayor Lahar Ayuban, Clarin Bridge was built in the 70s. It traverses Lobok River and is the main route from Luway going to Albuquerque and other towns in the western part of Bohol. A new structurally sound bridge, just adjacent to the one that collapsed, was set to open this coming June. So in the meantime, vehicles were still using the old bridge. For now, 57 divers are conducting search and retrieval operations in the river.
Zero visibility talaga. Sobrang hirap sa hanapan ng mga sasakyan, tao. Mahirap talaga. Malakas yung current, hindi mo alam kung may mga bakal ba. So kapaan talaga yung hanapan namin. Since kagabi pa.
The local government has handed out 10,000 pesos each for the survivors. The family of those who perished in the incident will receive a higher amount. All survivors are reportedly in stable condition. For News 5, Jem Avancenia, we are One News.
Self-confessed drug lord Kerwin Espinosa has recanted all his previous claims against detained Senator Leila de Lima. Espinosa said in a counter affidavit that he was coerced, pressured, intimidated, and seriously threatened by the police to implicate Senator de Lima. In 2016, Espinosa had testified that de Lima was part of the illegal drug trade inside the New Bilibid prison while Justice Secretary of the Aquino administration. Espinosa also accused de Lima of giving him 8 million pesos for her senatorial campaign.
For the big story in sports, Filipino big man Sotto will take one step closer to his dream of making it to the NBA as he announced that he will be joining the 2022 NBA draft. Sotto revealed the development in an Instagram post after playing a season in the National Basketball League in Australia for the Adelaide 36ers. The 7'3" center said he is hoping for everyone's support as he takes a shot at his ultimate dream. In 23 games, the 19-year-old Sotto averaged 7.6 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 0.7 blocks in 15.2 minutes. Big development in Sotto's career. We've been waiting for this moment that he will finally declare for the NBA draft, and we're excited for him. I got to speak with Coach Chot Reyes a while ago. Sabi niya malaki na improvement ni Kai, lumaki na yung katawan. And he also has guard skills. He can dribble well, pass well, shoot well, but he also acknowledges that we need to temper our expectations kasi marami pa yung growth ni Kai.
Binabasa ko nga ibang mga assessment ng mga scouting reports. He's not necessarily there, but everybody remember, he's only 19. This could still be whatever it is. It's still an important step on his journey.
Sabi rin ni Coach Chot na he's hoping that Kai will get drafted, picked for his potential because he has huge potential at 19 years old. So let's pray for him and support him in his journey. Well, that wraps up today's Big Story. Catch us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250.
Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. Mask on.
Wash hands.
And get vaccinated, Philippines. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. We are One News. Have a good evening.